On Thursday, September 4, about 400 Immigration and Customs Enforcement and other state and federal officers raided a construction site in Ellabelle, Georgia. They arrested 475 workers, of whom 300 were South Korean nationals. This was part of a massive construction project undertaken by the Korean automaker Hyundai. This particular plant will produce batteries for electric Hyundai automobiles. The state of Georgia had entered into an agreement with Hyundai for economic development. ICE threw the 475 workers directly into detention. This was the biggest ICE raid yet, so it grabbed lots of headlines. After Trump's notorious birthday card to Jeffrey Epstein was released, though, the ICE raid story pretty much fell out of the headlines. That is too bad because the ICE raid story offers several lessons for us. The 300 South Koreans were not immigrants. According to the South Korean government, these were technicians in the latter stages of installing hyper-sophisticated factory equipment to make batteries for electric cars, industrial robots, and that sort of thing. Technicians with these skills are not readily available here in the U.S., so they were brought in from Korea. Let's stop for a minute and talk about temporary foreign workers. Why would an employer want to hire foreign workers? One reason is just what Hyundai said. The necessary skills were not available locally. According to the local pipe fitters union, however, there were lots of jobs that were perfectly suitable for their skilled construction workers. Perhaps the company was trying to save money by using foreign workers. After all, there were 175 workers arrested who were not South Korean. Aggie and I visited Yellowstone National Park several years ago and stayed at the beautiful Lake Yellowstone Hotel. We noticed that the waitresses in the hotel's restaurant had been recruited in Eastern Europe. A labor contractor had signed up these young ladies over there and brought them over here to work at the national park for pay that undercut local wages. The employer used temporary foreign workers to save labor costs. Donald Trump, for that matter, also has a history of using foreign workers to cut labor costs. So temporary foreign workers should not be allowed when local workers can perform the jobs. When a foreign company invests in a new plant in America, it should know that it is expected to hire local workers, except where specialized skills or knowledge are required to do the job. Also, it was the local union who complained that local workers were not hired. It is a good idea to have a labor union to look after the interests of American workers. We as a society must decide whether we are willing to sacrifice jobs for American workers for the sake of lower labor costs for the construction industry. In this instance, the state of Georgia entered into an economic development agreement with Hyundai. The state should have made clear that Hyundai must hire American workers except where specialized knowledge is required on the job. The South Koreans pointed out that the arrested Koreans had temporary visas and so were entitled to be here. When ICE, in its usual ham-handed manner, arrested their workers and threw them all into jail, the Koreans, to put it mildly, got pissed off. Surely in the future, when one of these economic development contracts is negotiated, part of the agreement should settle what local workers can be used for the construction phase and what technicians will be brought in. Hyundai is entitled to know that when they need to bring in technical help, those workers will be left in peace to do the job. In the big picture, temporary foreign workers should only be used when local labor markets are not sufficient to satisfy the demand. The employers will no doubt respond that local workers will not work for the wages on offer. Perhaps the answer to that is to increase the pay. Finally, it must be painfully obvious that employers should be held accountable for hiring foreign workers, whether undocumented immigrants or not. If there really are jobs that domestic workers will not perform, then issue work permits to foreigners and be upfront about it. This don't ask, don't tell policy has gotten us in the mess we are in now.